In this second video on algebraic division, we're going to be looking at two of the examples that I mentioned in the text. Let's have a look at them. In the first example, we're going to be looking at the expression 6x cubed plus 8x squared minus 23x plus 10 divided by 3x minus 2. Now, what we were looking at here was the issue of being careful with negative numbers. However, the method is exactly the same as before. So we ask ourselves the question, how many times does 3x go into 6x cubed? And the answer is 2x squared. 2x squared goes onto our answer row at the top and is then multiplied by our divisor. So we go 2x squared multiplied by 3x minus 2 gives us 6x cubed minus 4x squared. And I've put that in brackets there, and we're going to subtract that to find our remainder. So remember the process. 3x into 6x cubed goes 2x squared, multiply by our divisor and subtract to get our remainder. The point here though is watch out when you're subtracting the negative 4x squared. Subtracting a negative 4x squared is the same as adding 4x squared, as you know from integers. So our result is then 8x squared plus 4x squared to give us 12x squared. So our remainder is 12x squared, and we bring down the rest of it, minus 23x plus 10. Then we just repeat the process. 3x into 12x squared goes plus 4x times. Plus 4x is multiplied by our divisor, 3x minus 2, to give 12x squared minus 8x, which is in brackets there on the fourth line. That is then subtracted. And remember, subtracting negative 8x is the same as adding 8x. So we have 12x squared, take away 12x squared, that's gone. That's the process that we're doing. That's the entire purpose here. We have minus 23x plus 8x. Subtracting negative 8x is the same as adding 8x to give us negative 15x, which is our remainder, and we bring down the 10. Then we repeat the process. 3x into negative 15x goes minus 5 times. Minus 5 goes up in our answer row at the top and is multiplied by 3x minus 2 to give a negative 15x plus 10. Okay, so the process is exactly the same. We're dividing 3x into 6x cubed to get 2x squared. We're multiplying out and subtracting to get our remainder. The only thing to really watch out for is that when you're subtracting a negative number, it's the same as adding it. So watch out for that. That's example 1. In example 2, we have 6x cubed minus 26x squared plus 32, and we're dividing that by 2x minus 8. I should have put the 2x minus 8 in brackets there to make it clear that we're dividing the entire expression. Okay, so both of those expressions should have been in brackets. The point to watch, however, is that we do not have an x term. There's no coefficient for the x term. However, for our process to work, we want to have every power of x represented. So what we do is we put in a 0x. So we can see there in our dividend we have 6x cubed minus 26x squared. We put in a plus 0x where there was no x, and then put the 32 at the end. Okay, so we want our polynomial to be in order like that. It has to be the cubed, then the squared, then the x, and then the constant. And we divide by 2x minus 8, and we just do exactly the same process before. So let's see what happens. We ask, how many times does 2x go into 6x cubed? It goes 3x squared times, which goes in our answer row. We multiply that out to get 6x cubed minus 24x squared, and we subtract. Remembering that when you subtract a negative number, it's the same as adding. So we have our remainder minus 2x squared, and we bring down the rest of the columns. We then ask, how many times does 2x go into negative 2x squared? The answer is minus 1x. We multiply out to get negative 2x squared plus 8x. We subtract to get a remainder, which is negative 8x, and we bring down the 32. The point to note here is that we really did need to have that 0x in there, in the same way that you'd put a 0 in to represent no tens or no hundreds or something like that. We need the 0x here for our method to work neatly. Okay, then we said, how many times does 2x go into negative 8x? The answer is negative 4, which goes in our answer row, and we multiply out to give negative 8x plus 32, and subtract to get no remainder. So we find that 2x minus 8 goes evenly into our dividend, and it goes in 3x squared minus x minus 4 times. Okay, so example 1 was to remind us to watch out for subtracting a negative number, remembering that it's the same as adding. And example 2 is to remind us that we need every coefficient of every power of x in our polynomial. If we do not have a power of x in our polynomial, we put in a dummy value. So we say plus 0x where we don't have any x value. So watch out for them, practice them, you'll get the hang of them. They're exactly the same as long division from primary school, so I think you'll find it relatively straightforward.